Welcome to the NBA Pub Hub Pub Sports Radio, Wednesday, February 8th. Ian Cameron, Dutch Boy Fresh, Billy Briz, ready to break down the Wednesday card. Hopefully everybody's recovered from LeBron's historic night last night, becoming the NBA all-time leading scorer. I did say this on Twitter, though. I was so shocked how many people made the big MJ LeBron argument last night during that moment. And I'm on the Michael Jordan side of that argument, but my goodness, how about a better time and place to bring that up? I mean, even if you hate LeBron, I mean, give him his moment, give him his opportunity to say, "Hey, I achieved history last night." Let's make that debate another day. You know,
MJ could never Bron
Yeah.
over Jordan, man.
Yeah,
Best all-time player.
yeah. So
Jordan
I
ain't
know.
got shit, Bron.
Yeah. So congrats anyway to LeBron James for the accomplishment
man, I had to
last
do
night.
that. I had to do that. We don't allow that. We don't allow that here with Bobano. I'll do it.
There you go. All right. Well, not having any of it is our guy Dutch here on this Wednesday card. Billy's in timeout right now. Billy Briz, our guy. All right. So we got the Wednesday card. We've got 9 games tonight in the NBA. So let's get it off and running here. We'll start with Detroit taking on Cleveland. We've got the Cavaliers, double-digit home favorites, 221 the total in this one. The Cavaliers, of course, playing as usual at home, excellent basketball for the most part. They've been coming off the last home win was very impressive against Memphis, 128-113. They blew out both the Pacers and the Wizards on the road. So Cavaliers really playing well. Detroit's not. I mean, it's a tough game. I mean, Detroit's just not playing even competitively enough to want to take all these points with them, to be quite honest with you. They have just had all kinds of issues the last few games, non-competitive losses each of their last 2 times on the floor. Now, there are some concerns, obviously, for the Cavaliers with the personnel tonight. Donovan Mitchell questionable with the groin issue. Same thing with Darius Garland with the thumb issue. That also explains why Detroit's taking some money here. But I'm telling you what, this Pistons team, other than that win against Charlotte, it's been pretty ugly for them. It's a pass for me on this game as of right now. Dutch, anything here, Detroit and Cleveland?
Yeah, man. Real quick salute to the ladies, gents, and D-gents for tuning in. You already know it's all love. Good to see all the real ones in the chat. The lovely lady Tasha, DK, Mr. Trifecta. Yeah, should be a leprechaun night tonight. Little look ahead spot. But yeah, man, with the question marks here with Garland and Mitchell, I'm not really trying to fuck with this game. Obviously, I believe it's Cavaliers or nothing, but I would want at least one of them two back there. I don't really know too much. I just seen that they're both questionable. No action on this basketball game.
That sounds like a good move, unless you like props, which Billy might have a few. What do you think, Pistons, Cavs?
Yeah, I'm kind of off of this game with the questionable news of Mitchell and Garland. I kind of lean towards the Pistons, though. They're 8-4-1. ATS is a double-digit underdog. The Cavs have only been double-digit favorites 5 times the whole entire year. Trade deadline tomorrow. A couple of their rotational pieces might get moved. But because it's a Piston spot, I don't want to bet it so fast.
All right. Next up, we continue along. We've got Charlotte and Washington. Wizards 4-point home favorites, 235.5 being the total in this one. Obviously, the Hornets come into this game limping 4 straight losses at Milwaukee. Chicago blown out at Detroit. They were favored in that game, if you could believe it. And they ended up losing 118-112. And then against Orlando, their last game, they were 2-point favorites. They lost 119-113. Again, favored. I couldn't believe that. But they're not favored here. They're an underdog, so a little bit of a different role. And Washington has lost 3 straight coming into this game as well, and we'll see if they can bounce back. Lots of question marks here for Washington. Kuzma looks like he's a game-time decision. Keep in mind, Kuzma missed the Cleveland game the other night, ankle issue, game-time decision tonight for him. Monte Morris questionable as well with the back issue, and Bradley Beal for the Wizards, it looks like with the foot injury remains questionable. He's missed the last 2 games for Washington. So I think I might want to back Washington here if they've got these guys in there, but I'm waiting for confirmation. I don't want Charlotte. If I had to choose one of these 2 ugly, struggling teams right now, I'd take Washington, but I'm waiting to see if we get Beal, Kuzma, Morris, at least Beal and Kuzma in particular. I'd like to have them on the floor before laying the points with the Wizards, but I'm leaning in that direction here in this game. Dutch, how about you here? Charlotte, Washington.
Yeah, man. Shout out to our guy Nets Bets. Tone Miggs in the building. Let's get that levels play of the day. H-Town, LJ, good to see you, my man. I see you doing your thing out there. Let's hit him over the head. This game, this has a lot to do, has a lot feeling of yesterday's game that we broke down with Billy and Daryl with the Knicks and the Magic game. I think you can make a case for both sides. I think this game is a coin flip game. I think Charlotte could be gritty, but I think, the Wizards also could show up. But with I don't know if Kuzma back?
So game time decision.
Game time decision. So he probably should go. I do think you need Kuzma out there. But yeah, I think this is a very sharp line. It could go either way. I would expect this to be a close basketball game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it really could go either way because he didn't practice yesterday. He did some individual drills on his own, which was a good sign. But the fact he didn't get in a full practice with the team tells you that he's very, very dicey still to play tonight. So basically check back right before the game. You'll know for sure. What do you think here, Billy?
Side-wise, I would probably back with the side and go with the props. There's a couple good props in this game. LaMelo Ball over 6.5 rebounds. He's gone over that in 6 straight games and 7 out of his last 10 games. Terry Rozier, 26.5 points and rebounds. He's gone over 7 of his last 10 road games and 9 out of his last 10 games overall. Both of their 3-point props look like good money. LaMelo Ball over 3.5 threes is juiced to, I think, like minus 150. And Terry Rozier's over 2.5 3-pointers is minus 125. So it's a good little prop game here. There's some value in that market, but side-wise, I kind of lean towards the Hornets pulling this out. They're 8-2 ATS last 10 meetings head-to-head against the Wizards, and historically they play well in Washington too. They're 5-1 ATS last 6 meetings in Washington, and the Wizards are 1-4 ATS last 5 home games. I think a couple of their guys are going to be out for this one, so give me the Hornets, but more conviction on the over. Like the over 235.5 too.
All right. Yeah, I could see points in this game. I certainly wouldn't talk anyone out of looking over the total here with these two squads. All right, Philadelphia, Boston. Here we go. We got a good one here in the Eastern Conference. Boston, 4.5 point home favorites, 224.5 being the total in this game. It looks like as far as this game is concerned, we got Marcus Smart's out. Gallinari's out. They've been out for a while. Robert Williams, it looks like downgraded to questionable with an ankle issue. That's significant. That is really significant for this matchup. We'll see if he's able to go. Al Horford's questionable with a right knee issue. On the flip side, you've got Joel Embiid questionable with the foot injury, but he's also been questionable for 6 straight games. This is a big matchup on the road against Boston. I'm expecting him to be on the floor for the Sixers. Now, it is Joel Embiid. You never, ever count it as a given, but I do expect him to play here tonight. I think I like Philly here plus the points. And if Robert Williams doesn't go, then, that's definitely going to hurt them a little bit here as far as defending Embiid goes in this matchup. And Boston hasn't been a great home favorite lately. I mean, they barely got the cover on the road last game against Detroit, but you look at them as home chalk. I mean, 10-point favorites against Phoenix, lost the game outright. 8-point favorites against the Lakers. We know they had that bad foul call that went against LeBron. They barely escaped in overtime. They lost outright as home favorites against the Knicks. I mean, laying points with Boston here at the Garden has not been a good proposition lately. Sixers, I think, after blowing the game against the Knicks, too, I think this sets up nicely as a big motivational bounce back effort from the Sixers here on the road. So I do like them here, plus 4.5 points. What do you think, Dutch? 76ers, Celtics.
Yeah, man, I don't like hearing that. I got to be honest with you. I do not. Shout out to our guy Tono asking, you shall receive with the levels play of the day. Baylor first half minus 5.5. 2-unit play. Good looking, my man. Star videos. I see you, my man. Winner circle. Yeah, I like the Leprechauns here, man. I think it's a small number here, minus 4. I believe there's value here. I understand everything you did say. There were a bit of higher favorites in most of those games you were talking about as well. So I think this is a small number here on a Philadelphia team I simply don't trust. We talked about it a lot. I do trust them at the crib. They're a bet-on team at the house. On the road, not so much. And they do play, against good competition, they're really actually not very good against the number here. With 1-5 ATS last 6 road games versus a team with a winning home percentage of 60% or better, which obviously the Celtics do have. And then on the other end of it, Boston has struggled against a number of late, but they play up to their competition. They're 8-1 ATS last 9 versus a team with a winning percentage greater than 60%. So I think Boston plays up to Philly here. The last 2 times they beat them, I mean, these motherfuckers beat them by 43 fucking points, I believe, right? 48 points they beat them back in February of the year before. They come back right back and beat them again by 9. After you beat a team by 48 points and you see them again and you still lose by almost double digits, and now we got a 4-point because I believe some of the injury news with Robert Williams. Jaylen Brown will be going. So we got Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I would like to see Smart out there, but Lil White has been playing good basketball. I've been watching him. He's getting more and more comfortable. He's definitely a serviceable player. And then obviously they got Brogdon as addition as well. So I think this is a small number with the Leprechauns. I think they put it on Philly full game here, -4. It's good money.
There is some truth to that it's obviously a shorter number than we've seen with the Celtics, where they've been struggling against the number at home, but they've been bigger favorites than they are here in this game tonight. I think Williams is significant. I mean, not saying they can't win and cover the Sixers with Williams playing, but if Williams is out for Boston, I think that's a big edge that goes toward Philly in this game. What do you think here, Billy?
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't think the outfit says it anymore. I got the hat on. I got the track jacket on, man. I love the Sixers here in this spot. We're gonna bounce back from the game off the Knicks. The Celtics have lost 5 of their last 8 meetings to Philadelphia. They've won their last 2. They're 2-7 ATS, last 9 overall. They haven't really been covering games against anybody, to be honest with you. The last couple of weeks, 1-4 ATS, last 5 home games. Sixers are 4-1 ATS, last 5 road games. 9-5 ATS as an underdog this year. We might have dropped that game against the Knicks, but let's not act like the 76ers weren't the best team in the NBA ATS-wise for a couple of weeks so far to start off 2023. So I'm riding.
They didn't leave the crib.
I'm not even taking the 4.5, bro. I'm taking the money line, straight up money line here, plus 155 money line. Let's go Sixers.
All right, Sixers outright, says our guy Billy.
Hey,
no homer vibe in the.
Yeah, he thinks money line here, Bobano. My bad, but I'm just saying, like, Sixers, or not the Sixers, but they've been moving a little bit here the last couple games as well. Been traveling, and then of course Boston since the first of the month has only went to Detroit, has been chilling at the crib. And I just wonder, like, I mean, who gonna guard Jason Tatum and JB? I mean, I Tucker can't guard these guys, bro. He's the only really defensive player out there. I just wonder who's gonna stop Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. But I guess I'm
about to stop Joel Embiid. You got Horford and Robert Williams, both questionable. Embiid's about to go off for 40, and Embiid goes off for 40.
Embiid props might be even better than betting Philadelphia in this game because, look, if they're going to have a shot, he's going to have a big night. And there's a chance he does, especially if Robert Williams doesn't go. So a PRA with Embiid makes sense tonight.
I think Joel guards Tatum and Melton guards fucking Brown, or we could put Harden on Brown. It doesn't really matter too much. But I think the mismatch is Embiid inside, man. I mean, Robert Williams and Horford both questionable. One of those two miss. Celtics are, bro, they're out here losing ball games to the Suns, man.
Last game, Embiid had 26, and Robert Williams wasn't on the court. They lose, So we'll see. Obviously, we need Horford out there, which I believe he will be playing. So we'll see. It's a good one. I know there is a lot of love for the Sixers. Obviously, both of you guys like the Sixers today. I've heard nothing but Sixers all day. I'm a little surprised of all the love. I don't trust James Harden and that crew on the road as much as everyone else does.
All right. Do we trust the Raptors laying double digits against the San Antonio Spurs tonight? Toronto 10.5, 11 now in some spots as home favorites, 232.5 the total in this game. I did bet the Raptors here, small, just small because of the fact they're coming off the road trip. They did win that road trip too. That was a gritty effort against Memphis to win on the road against now Ja Morant didn't play. That was a huge factor. But still for the Raptors to end that road trip with a win, that was a brutally tough road trip. It was a long one. So it's not a great spot for the Raptors. You know what I'm like with the first home game off a long road trip. It can be dicey. But how do you make a case for San Antonio right now? I mean, seriously, this team is just tanking right now. It sure looks that way to me. They're not even competitive in these games. This is a San Antonio team that's 0-8 against the spread in their last 8 games. They've lost 9 in a row. They've been dummied the last 2, Sixers by 12, 24-point loss at Chicago, 10-point loss to Sacramento, 21-point loss to Washington. I mean, they're not even competitive in these games right now, San Antonio. And the Raptors kind of seem to be playing like this us against management right now, where they're talking about trading away Freddie and OG and even Siakam rumblings and all kinds of rumblings with multiple Gary Trent, about who's going to get paid or going to get traded maybe before tomorrow. So it kind of feels like this band of brothers together for the last time, maybe before tomorrow's deadline. So I could see them playing a big game tonight. And it's not like we trust San Antonio. By the way, Toronto's destroyed San Antonio. You look this year, last year, Toronto's dummied this team, beating them by double digits every single time. So it's Toronto or nothing for me. And the number's high. It ain't a bargain, but I do have a piece of the -10.5 here on the Raptors. Dutch, what do you think? Spurs, Raptors.
Yeah, man. Chicago kid dropping some good knowledge in the chat about the LBJ shit. I'll give you a shout out for the knowledge it took to put that in the chat. I see you, my man. DK with you, liking the Sixers money line there, Billy. Yeah, I don't like this basketball game, man. I really just give a couple more shout outs. Star Video, BJ. I see you, my man. Yeah, back with this motherfucker, man.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know there, Rara Murray in the chat, that the Raptors as bigger favorites. You always wonder with the Raptors, right? Especially this year, they're mediocre. How are they as big favorites? They've been really good as big favorites. They've covered 5 of their last 6, 8 of their last 9 as 11-point favorites or more, and they've destroyed San Antonio repeatedly. So for those reasons, I'm on Toronto here. What do you think in this one, Bill?
I'm seeing the Spurs as like popular road underdog pick today. See a lot of money coming in on the Spurs, but I don't particularly really necessarily agree with it. Just off of their recent form, it's hard to bet the Spurs. But it is a lot of points for a Raptors team that probably won't be together by this time tomorrow. So I could probably lean Spurs or pass for me, but it's just like some of these bad team spots, even though it's their type of spot, I just haven't been able to pull the trigger. But it's the ugly spots in the NBA that usually cash. So give me the Spurs and the points.
All right, so lean into the Spurs here in this one. Next up, we've got Indiana, Miami. Heat, 7-point home favorites, 224 the total in this one. The Miami Heat, of course, have started to play better since the slow start to the season, although they have lost 3 of their last 4 coming into tonight on this road trip. They're back home off a road trip. That's always a little tricky. They've had 3 days off, though, so that's the good news after playing in Charlotte, Cleveland, New York, Milwaukee, just winning the one game on that road trip. Now they return home, face a Pacers team coming off a shellacking at the hands of Cleveland on their home floor, 122-103, 2-8 in their last 10 games straight up are the Pacers. They've obviously had their share of struggles of late. The good news is Tyrese Halliburton, who has been obviously a critical piece for them all season. He's been back for these last 3 games. It's surprising to see them still struggling, though he's been back, but that's the good news for the Pacers. On the Miami side, it looks like Kyle Lowry's out for tonight. Keep that in mind. And Gabe Vincent, a game-time decision for the Miami Heat, although he's been upgraded to probable. That's important, too, because he's slated to take over the point guard spot tonight without Kyle Lowry on the floor. But, you got Miami off the road trip. It's not a spot I'm looking to lay 7. I'm not crazy about back in Indiana because their form is lousy right now. But if I had to, I'd lean Pacers here. I wouldn't feel comfortable laying this many with Miami here in this spot. What do you think, Dutch? Pacers Heat?
Yeah, man. I think this line is kind of getting you to beg to bet the Pacers here, to be honest with you. And I don't know if this is. I do understand the fact that they're coming back off the road trip, Miami, but they've lost 2 out of 3 meetings. This is the 4th meeting this year. They've lost 2 out of 3 already to Indiana, and Indiana beat them in Miami by 3. Back in December 23rd. So. Do I think Indiana's going to come in there 2 times in a row and beat Miami? I do not. So, I mean, could you get a cover here? Possibly, but I think this is a Miami spot. I really do. I'm not going to lay the 7. I can see why people are going to the window with the 7 on the Pacers side with Halliburton. They got guys that could, put the ball in the bucket, but Miami's been playing a little bit better basketball. They are getting healthy. I don't really think they want Lowry out there. I think Vincent is more of a key than Lowry, to be quite honest with you. You touched on that, Bobano. But yeah, I have a feeling this line stinks a little bit. I think a lot of people are going to go to the window with Indiana. I wouldn't be surprised if Miami's up 15, quit.
All right, good stuff indeed. All right, what do you think here, Billy? Pacers Heat.
I'm right there with you, Dutch. I like the Heat in the spot. Pacers 0-7 ATS, last 7 road games, 3-9 ATS, last 12 games overall. Even with Halliburton back, they haven't really looked too well. I mean, they need to pick up some wins, though, if they want to get inside one of those play-in seed spots. But it seems like the Heat – I'm calling the Heat fully healthy. I don't think Kyle Lowry is going to be on this team by this time tomorrow, nor does Kyle Lowry really need to be on the floor, man. I don't think he's that good right now. They got other ball handlers like Hero and Butler. So I like the Heat here, -7. I didn't actually play it, but I think they handle business in this one.
All right, like in the Miami Heat here. You're right, Indiana's form is grisly right now, to say the least. Sacramento, Houston, we've got Sacktown, 8.5-point road favorites, 239.5 is the total in this one. Sacramento laid a beat down on Houston, and it's one of these weird spots where it's the same two teams in the same building again for the second straight game. Sometimes you get the reverse happening where the one team covers the first game, the opponent that lost the first covers the second meeting. I don't think that's happening here. I think Houston sucks, and they're just absolutely horrendous right now. They've been blown out 2 straight games by 20-plus points. They can't stop anything on defense. I know Steven Silas lit into them for these last 2 defensive efforts against OKC and Sacramento, but I don't think it matters at this point. This looks like a team that's just not given any kind of effort that you need to be a competitive team on the defensive end of the basketball court. Garrison Matthews, game-time decision. KPJ remains out. They do have Şengün is in there, and Smith, and Jalen Green's been back, but it hasn't mattered. They've still not been playing any defense. Sacramento, you know what I might do tonight? Because I laid the points with the Kings the other night and won. I'll probably do that again, but I'll probably split it between that and the team total over 124 with Sacramento, because I definitely think the Rockets are just a hapless defensive team. I'm not buying into the fact the coach ripped them for their lack of effort defensively, that's going to change things all that much. So I'm going to go with a split here. Kings laying the points, Kings team total over 124. What do you think here, Dutch? Kings, Rockets.
Yeah, man. Shout out to MMA. Jesus, he's right with you. He's liking the Kings laying the 9. Yeah, I don't like this basketball game at all. Back with this motherfucker.
All right. Yeah.
All right, Billy.
Yeah, these two teams just played off. I bet the Kings that day. I'm not really looking to go back to the well. I mean, backwood, man, backwood.
All right. Yeah.
All right, Minnesota, Utah. We move along. Jazz, 6-point home favorites, 235. The total in this one, big total, as you would expect here in this game. Jazz, 27-28 overall, but 18-11 at home. Although they're off back-to-back home losses against the Hawks and the Mavericks. You'll understand why I'm a little reluctant to take Utah here, laying the points, because, you look at what they did the last game against Dallas, and Dallas had a patchwork roster to work with after the big deal involving Kyrie Irving, DFS, and Dinwiddie going the other way to Brooklyn. That was just a depleted Dallas team that went into Utah and beat them comfortably, going away in that game. So I'm a little bit, once bitten, twice shy. That old saying. That's how I feel here with this Utah Jazz team coming into tonight. I'm not really comfortable and ready to lay 6 with them, albeit I understand from a Minnesota standpoint, there's Karl Anthony Towns out, Rivers out still from the suspension that was laid on him. Gobert's a game-time decision, and Kyle Anderson's a game-time decision for the Timberwolves as well. So a bunch of players you want to keep an eye on going into this game. Plus, it's a back-to-back for Minnesota after getting thumped in Denver last night, 146-112. But I got to believe when you get destroyed by that kind of margin, you're going to play hard the next night, even if you've got some guys that may play and may not play going into this game. So I know they bet Utah here. I'm going to come back closer to tip-off, see what the lineup situation is on both sides, but I'm trying to make a case for Minnesota here, even on the back-to-back, now taking what I think is an inflated number in this one. Dutch, what do you think? Timberwolves, Jazz.
Yeah, man, I really like everything you were saying. Man, there's one thing that's holding me back from this. I'm glad I didn't pull the trigger yet because I did want to see who was all going to be suited up here from Minnesota. But I do believe this was a Wolves spot. But here within the last 30 to 40 minutes, they got a trade on the table, and obviously it involves the LA Lakers. But it's the Timberwolves. It hasn't went through. It's just a trade that involves both of these teams and two key players. More I would say from Minnesota. D'Angelo Russell going back to LA, and Mike Conley going to Minnesota, and I believe obviously Russell Westbrook going being in that deal with a first round pick as well to Utah. So I mean, damn, that's two dudes, that's two big pieces, that's 2 point guards. Being talked about trade. I don't know if I want to. I was ready to go with Minnesota. They're 5-0-1 ATS last 6 meetings in Utah, 3-0 straight up last 3 and back to backs. The last 3 back-to-backs, 8-3 ATS last 11 overall. And the Wolves as a dog lose by an average of 2.5 points per game. So I was liking this. 1 point loss in the previous matchup 3 weeks ago. I was thinking 6 is good money, but D'Angelo Russell, man, he might be already planning his trip to LA. Obviously, it's just news, but I don't like that when you got two teams, both teams got players getting talk. I don't really care too much about Mike Conley, but it could trickle down to the locker room. To be honest with you, but I want D'Angelo Russell out there. He's a streaky motherfucker, but I need him out there if I'm betting Minnesota. So strong pass right now, but I agree with everything you were saying, Bobano. I think it's Minnesota or nothing.
All right, Billy.
Definitely Minnesota or nothing. I mean, Dutch nailed it, head in the coffin, 5-0-1 ATS last 6 meetings in Utah. I probably lean towards Minnesota maybe early, and maybe they might gas out late in altitude. They got blown the fuck out the last night. But Timberwolves are nothing here for me in this spot. I think the Jazz are looking to tank.
Yeah, it might be wise to put a little on the first half. I agree, because you're just worrying the altitude. You're right. Run out of gas second half. And by the way, you can find Minnesota plus 3.5 in the first half. I think you want to split it up at the very least with the Wolves. First half, full game tonight if you're going to back them. All right, we've got Golden State, Portland. Portland, 2.5 point home favorites, 235 the total in this one. Well, I talked about how Oklahoma City was good to me last night in their outright win against the Lakers. But I did use them the day before on this show as a best bet against Golden State, and they did not treat me well that night. It was the Klay Thompson show. Holy goodness, what a game for him Monday night against that Oklahoma City team. 141-114 for the Warriors as they get the job done there in that one. 42 points, 15 of 22, 12 of 16, 80% from three-point range for Klay Thompson. Scary good he was, obviously, in the absence of Steph Curry, who obviously did not play in that one. And if you look at this game tonight for Golden State, still no Curry, obviously, but Poole, Thompson, will he have a regression, or can he keep it up after what he did against the Thunder? Poole, Thompson, Wiggins, Green, and Looney, your projected starting 5. Portland, Nurkic remains out for them. It looks like Drew Eubanks game time decision as well. I think there'll probably be a lot of points in this game. I'd probably gravitate more towards over in this game rather than either side. And as far as the side goes in this one, look, Golden State at home, I get it. There's no Curry, but I took a chance going against them at home, which I don't often do Monday night with OKC, and I got my head caved in because of it. I'm not in a rush to go against Golden State once again at home. So passing on the side, I might get involved with the over here in this game. Dutch, what do you think? Warriors, Blazers?
Yeah, I believe this game is in P-Town, though, correct?
It is. It's in Portland. My bad.
Yeah,
my bad.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, Portland. I still don't want to go against Golden State, though.
I hear you there. P-Town, man, I want to make a case here for Dame Time and the crew. I really do. I really fucking do. But, man, they fold maybe, I was thinking maybe, they come around here with Dame, but, man, the Warriors have been a fade on the road. They really have been. They lose by an average of 6.5 points per game on the road this year. That's how bad they've been on the fucking road. So, and Eubanks, the only big, as we talked about last year on this show on Monday with Bobano, the only big they had, because it was bully basketball. Milwaukee outreaded them by damn near 30 fucking rebounds, okay? It was 20 plus easy. And now Eubanks is questionable. He will play. I believe he's upgraded probably, but he's even banged up. Obviously, no Nurkic. they're pretty fucking small. I know the Warriors are starting Kuminga and Draymond in this as their front line, but they got some guys lengthy off the bench that is definitely gonna impact the game. I just look at it as, man, I can't trust Portland to rebound the basketball right now. I want to take them here because of how suspect Golden State has been on the road. Keep in mind, Golden State has been so bad previously that they've actually, I believe, covered 4 out of the last 5 or 4 out of the last 6 basketball games on the road. So they have been playing better basketball on the road. They were just so bad to start the season. Strong. And in the back-to-back situation, they put it on them. Or no, I don't believe they are. But I want to bet the Blazers here, man. But I'm scared. I'm going to church on this game, so I do have to pass.
All right. Yeah, I just like the over. I'm going to stay away from the side. Golden State's been a little bit better on the road the last 10 games or so away from home, but it's still not great. And the last 2 times they were on the road, losses to both the Wolves and the Nuggets. I say stick to points. Golden State's trending over. They're shooting the ball well enough. The defense hasn't been great, and Portland, I think, probably scores their share at home tonight. What do you think, Billy?
Yeah, side-wise, it's kind of hard. I kind of want to lean towards the Trailblazers, but, the Warriors kind of got some momentum going into this one. Klay Thompson's birthday for tonight, and the books definitely know it, too, because they got his 3-point prop at 4.5, juiced towards the over at -130. So I won't be going there, but shouts to anybody that does, man. I don't blame you for it. But I think I want to go to the pool party, man. That's where the life is better at. Jordan Poole over 23.5 points. He's gone over his point total 8 out of his last, I think it's 12 games without Curry in the lineup, averaging 27.6 points per game and 16 games without Curry this season. And he had 41 points in the previous matchup versus Portland in December without Curry. So if it's a pool party, Warriors might cover the spread. But I like the pool points, though.
All right, Jordan Poole points for Billy here over his point total prop-wise. Okay, Dallas and the LA Clippers, final game of this Wednesday card. Clippers 8-point home favorites, 220.5, 221 the total in this game. That was a sweat and a half if you jumped on the Clippers against Brooklyn the other night at the end of that road trip for the Clippers because it was right around the number. Depends on if you bet the Clippers late, you either pushed or you lost. If you bet them early, you probably covered. But they won by 8. It was right around the closing number against a Brooklyn team that's very depleted after the Kyrie trade. And now they're going to face a Dallas team, tonight that's also equally depleted after the Kyrie Irving deal went through. It looks like tonight, as far as it goes, Luka's out, Bertans is out, Kleba's out. We're waiting on Kyrie. Jason Kidd said that he's joined the team. It was at practice. He's expected to make his debut with the Mavs tonight, but it hasn't been set in stone yet. But we're expecting Kyrie on the floor tonight for the Dallas Mavericks in his debut in this one. So that's what we're waiting on. As far as this game goes, just be careful with Dallas tonight. You could say Kyrie's there, and if he plays, that means you got to look at them here with the points. I'm not so sure about that. Now, the Clippers are coming off a road trip. First home game, that's a kind of a negative spot. But I could see the chemistry taking a game or two to develop. You just don't all of a sudden, make all these changes. Kyrie comes in for his first game, and all of a sudden things are, just all of a sudden ready to take off, and this team is just playing terrific and firing away on all cylinders. I don't think it goes that way. I think there's a growing process here right at the very beginning. So I'd honestly take the Clippers before the Mavs, but, off a road trip like that, coming back home, that's a negative spot. It's a clear pass for me on the side. I'd probably look under as far as the total goes because I think the offense could be a little disjointed for Dallas. New rotation, Kyrie in the mix for the first time potentially. We expect him to be there. And the Clippers, too, I could see them coming off the road trip. The shots aren't falling, rely more on their defense. So I lean under the total, if anything. What do you think here, Dutch? Mavs, Clippers?
Yeah, man. Shout out to our guy JK in the building. Backwood in this one. I don't know if this is a backwood, man. I like there's a case, that you could backwood this game because it is the Clippers. And it's been the Mavericks. Both these teams have been a little bit hard to cap, especially the Mavericks of late, especially with the roster. But I think they're gonna have a little bit of momentum. I think they're gonna play These are a lot of new guys in the lineup playing. Obviously without Luka, without DFS, without Dinwiddie, that's 3 starters. Now you got Kyrie coming in. I think they're kind of just going to play a little bit more relaxed. Kyrie going to be the nice guy. It's early. He's happy. He's in paradise. Give it a little while, but he's cool Kyrie right now. He's going to share the basketball. I mean, he's going to play. I think they're all going to play kind of like, man, we're damn near double-digit underdogs in this game. We just come out here to play. I think it's going to be somewhat of a pickup style from that, but I think it'll work. Maybe after a while it won't. I don't expect them to beat the Clippers, but I like the 4.5 first half. I think the Clippers, are going to come out a little sloppy. 6-game road trip, started in Atlanta, ended in Brooklyn. That's a long flight back from Brooklyn to LA and only have one motherfucking day. Come on, man. We know Kawhi and these boys, they're not exactly the youngest team out there just ready to rock and fucking roll as well. So I think they're going to start off slow. Give me the 4 and the hooker. I think the Mavericks first half is good money.
Liking the Mavericks early here. Dallas plus 4.5 first half for Dutch. Billy, what do you think?
I love the breakdown, Dutch. I love the breakdown. I think this could definitely be a sleepy spot here for the Clippers, man. They're in good form and all that, but there's one thing I will say about Kyrie being added to a team. You add Kyrie, ain't no defense about to be played for that team. You take out Dorian Finney-Smith, man. We've seen the Mavs defensive numbers without him in the starting lineup this year. It's definitely fallen off. 220.5, way too low. It's going to go up and over that total. I see 221 in some spots. I think it's good up to 223. I think this could be a high-scoring game, man. I mean, how does this not go over the total?
Yeah, I think it's the opposite with the total. But, you're right about the pace going up with Kyrie. You're right about his defensive, issues. That's all valid. I worry about sometimes in these tricky spots off a road trip, you don't see the shooting as good for the Clippers, which actually might help Dallas if you like them in this game first half. But I don't know if we'll see. I'm interested to see what the pace is like tonight. Push it or slow it down. You would think, potential if they push it, but and if they do,
they can't set up plays and stuff like that. And then the defensive assignments, they can't be any defensive assignments. I mean, he's only been there for how many? He was playing with the backups. It's like
It's a great watch. You know what it is? It's a great live betting game. It really is. I think if you watch the first few minutes, you see how the Clippers look coming off the road trip. You see what Dallas looks like with Kyrie on the floor with them for the first time, plus all the other pieces. Because keep in mind, there's no Luka, and there's a bunch of other key players not playing. And you see what the pace is, and then you make a decision live with this game. That's probably what I'll end up doing. Great stuff. That's the Wednesday slate. Hit the like button. We appreciate it on YouTube. 238 live viewers. Let's go run it up. Hit that like button. Pubapalooza is coming up next month at the end of March, 24th to 26th. Of course, we're looking forward to that as well. Hit that like button. We appreciate it very much. Connor Mack and me are coming up at the top of the hour as well. College basketball net profit. Stay tuned for that. We got best bets. We got Dutch's freshest look coming up right after we hear from Manscaped and Southtown 101. Southtown 101, when you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in. Great food, drinks, live music, DJs, karaoke, Southtown 101, and manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping using the promo code PUBSPORTS. All right, best bets, Dutch's freshest look. Dutch, freshest look. What do you got?
Yeah, man, freshest look, man. We're going to Beantown. I know it's not going to be a popular look, but look, they're going back to Philly in a couple weeks, and that's when Philly might get these boys. But not tonight, goddammit. Leprechauns -4. It's good money.
Boston Celtics -4 against Philadelphia. Freshest look for Dutch. Billy, what do you got? Best bet.
I'm going to Beantown too, but we sitting on the other Raptors, man. We're don't hit me up until after the game because it's Philadelphia Smack City spot tonight. The chain is not for decoration. We're cashing this tonight. Sixers money line plus 155.
There you go. Plus 155. Philadelphia money line. Skipping the points, going right to the outright dub for the Philadelphia 76ers tonight for Billy with the best bet. My best bet, we're going to go back to Rip City in Portland. Points, and more points. Both of these teams are scoring in bunches. I don't really have utmost faith in either team at the defensive end right now. Both of them are kind of trending over the total of late as well. Let's just see a good old-fashioned shootout tonight in Rip City in Portland. Golden State, Portland over 234. My best bet here for this Wednesday NBA card. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition of the NBA Pub Up. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it very much. We'll be back tomorrow. We got Dutch hosting along with Durrell and Ski Profit on Thursday, so make sure you tune in for that with the NBA Pub Up. And I'll be back with Connor Mack, top of the hour, for College Hoops Net Profit. For Billy Briz, for Dutch, and I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll talk to you again tomorrow on Thursday for another edition of the NBA Pub Up right here at Pub Sports Radio. Dutch, take us home.
Yeah, man. Salute to all the real ones holding us down in the chat. Nunya, Tasha, Fathead, Adam L. Good to see you, my man. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share the motherfucking video. Y'all stay fresh, stay blessed, and stay putting these motherfucking bookies to rest. Yeah, man.